It's day 4 of the PyeongChang 2018 Paralympic Winter Games, and you join us at the Gangneung Hockey Centre for the final day of preliminary round action in the para ice hockey competition. Our game today comes from Group B. It's the Czech Republic against Japan in a repeat of the 2016 B Pool World Championship final. On that day, it was the men in white that you can see on your screens going out now to a great reception here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre, who won back in 2016 by 6-0. However, the last two meeting between these sides, Japan coming out now in their changed black strip, made it a lot tighter affair. In the qualification tournament in 2017, the Czech Republic only won by the 0-0. These two are well aware that they can't finish any higher than 5th now, and that's a position that the Czech Republic have finished in the previous two Paralympic Games. So no progression, but hopefully for them, no regression. And this game will be part of the building process for future tournaments in the Czech Republic program. As for Japan, they came into this competition with high hopes, with a decent crowd backing them as well, making the short hop across the ocean to the Republic of Korea. But as you can see in the Group B standings, mathematically impossible for both of these sides to catch the Republic of Korea as the host nation goes steamrolling on to the semi-finals. Referee today, Jonathan Morrison in the centre. It's his final tournament as a referee as well, and he's been a big part of the American process of getting new referees in, and he will be missed. Yuri Briza, the Czech Republic coach, was almost given a heart attack against the Republic of Korea earlier on in the competition on day 2. The Czech Republic forcing the game into overtime, but only accumulating the 1 point from it. Koji Nakakita, similar complexion for the Japanese, but they are pointless. They took nothing out of their game against the Republic of Korea. Both sides lost to the United States of America. Looked like a really formidable proposition to the Stars and Stripes of the USA. And Japan as well, relying predominantly on Daisuke Uehara, the number 32, the defenceman. He's been clocking up a lot of game time over the first couple of matches that Japan have had in Group B so far. In goal for the Czech Republic is Mikhail Vapenka, the number 6. And he's been playing all the games so far, mechanic by trade. As for the Japanese, Shinobu Fukushima, 61 years of age, still between the sticks and still firing on all cylinders as well. He'll be hoping for a shutout today, as will Vapenka as well at the other end, something that neither goaltender has enjoyed so far in this competition. Just a word on Jonathan Morrison as well, the referee. I mentioned how he's been a big part of the United States of America. They've actually now got training camps for para ice hockey specific referees as a result of him. Beforehand, it was a case of a lot of officials just making the straight transition from able-bodied hockey into para hockey. And now we are beginning to have more and more para hockey referees who have nailed that trade in particular. And alongside Jonathan Morrison today, Han Yul of the Republic of Korea and Andreas Lundin of Sweden. The crowd, as ever, in superb noise here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre. It's different personnel every time that turn out, but still the same level of intense atmosphere is created, predominantly by the locals, but quite a healthy contingent of Czech Republic and in particular Japanese supporters and flags here in Gangneung for this one, which is off and running. And it's going to be a close affair, this, between two sides who made the B Pool World Championship final a couple of years ago, and they've met many a time since, with the Czech Republic coming out on top in the last 3 occasions. However, the last Paralympic meeting was in 2010, and Japan won that by 2-1. But certainly one common trend is that the games are fairly balanced, Kumagai picks up possession of the puck, a key cog in the Japanese wheel. But that goes out for the first icing of the contest, and the first line change as well for the Czech Republic also. You can see that early collision there that's really got the crowd involved into the thick of this one, between Ichi Misawa of Japan and David Matichka of the Czech Republic. As Japan have a bit of defensive work to do here. Face off won by Safranek. Can he get it onto the left blade or go for Herbeck instead, who's in a bit more of an authoritarian position? He can assess the scene. It's speared towards the crease by Krapichka. Dealt with by Uiara. And the first chance for him to motor the arms forward. Herbeck on the retreat and leaving that for Raul to deal with. Already this is a quick-paced game. Both sides are contesting in equal measure. Nice loop pass forward, and that's got the use of the crowd, and also the licking of the lips here for Hori, who squares it, and it's a chance, and Takahashi has fluffed his lines. An opportunity for him to get his second goal of these Paralympic Games. A collision in the centre, and a big collision as well on Jonathan Morrison. Absolute carnage on the ice early on. And Morrison, unfortunately, is wearing his helmet because he got his legs taken from behind that inadvertently by Krapichka. And he was doing somersaults towards the American official. Well, if you need to power ice hockey, then you've been thrown in at the deep end, because this is one heck of a start, as the puck will now stop dead in front of the Czech Republic technical area, and eventually it is freed and we can get some hockey going once again. The puck gathering pace under control. Kubes has it, and Sudo is clattered into by Klima, and Habel will get the loose puck, but it will go for icing instead, and a chance to just breathe once more, as certainly we've been passengers on a rocky ship in the first few minutes. This was the chance for Takahashi, and after this is where everything just seemed to explode. First big chance of the game, and Japan have passed it up as Kubek dumps it into the corner, and Gaia, first involvement for him. In fact, he'll allow that for Dolajal instead, and then his movement into the centre is picked off by Sudo, who's got an option to the left and the right. He goes for the former. And now Annika, and that's a nice switch from him as well, and Japan there with the free-flowing counter charge, because couldn't supply the finishing product. Kubek. This 100-mile-an-hour stuff so far, and I'm surprised the ice is still at freezing. Now at the other end, it's Habel making the inroads. He's not got much support with him, and it's a very equal bump off to the boards that Habel will benefit from. In the end, seen off by Nakamura, who took the full force there of that blow from Habel. Kubek will pirouette and battle with Sudo, who is freestyling on the ground right now, and he's got it away. Hori then is clattered into by Safranek. Halbeck, the more experienced head, just trying to take a grip of things, and in fact himself is beginning to just clatter into the ball without any encouragement. And now Hori arcing round, nice pull back, Uiara. Oh, his eyes lit up, but then the adrenaline rushed too far as well, and he didn't get his bearings correct. This is a cracking contest, and we've only played 5 minutes of it so far, and let's hope it stays at this pace. I don't think either coach will be too pleased, because the players sliding around everywhere, no real composure on the ice, and there's been a lack of quality. but who cares, because this is gripping, and it's a mistake from Kumagai that Krupicka almost got advantage of. He's got it again, has Krupicka, forced into the board on halfway. Safranek there to help him out. It was Takahashi doing the defensive work for Japan. Pala just helps it along into the corner, and a couple of changes on the defensive line for the Czech Republic come with it as well. Kumagai trying to give them a first flavour of what Japan are about as the Czech Republic defensive pair enter the ice. Kumagai with the pressure on him from two white jerseys, and he flips it again into the corner where Japan are getting a bit of room out wide, but there is too much zest on that pass, and so play will be brought back for a face-off in the Japan zone. But 5.5 minutes played, we are still goalless, but lots of events going on so far in this. Uiara just completely losing direction of the puck there as he got it trapped under the right blade. You feel the goal is not too far away. Every member of the Czech roster has already had one shift off the ice so far, and there'll be a movement off the ice for interference now for Wataru Hori of Japan. Jonathan Morrison very bold in that decision there. And so it's the first power play of the game, and it goes to the Czech Republic, who have a bit of a chinwag on the far side with Yuri Briza, the 42-year-old head coach. As Hori looks up to the scoreboard and sees what he did, and you can see he's not on the puck. It could have been a mixture of teeing or interference there. It was the latter that Jonathan Morrison has opted for. Two-minute break for him as both sets of players take a break. Koji Nakakita, the Japanese head coach, has a lot of trust in his side. A vast majority of them are 35 plus. They have experience. They have experience at Paralympic level in particular, getting a silver back in 2010. However, they didn't qualify for Sochi 2014, which was a bit of a surprise, and they were relegated to the B pool. Czech Republic also a bit of a yo-yo side in the para ice hockey world. They are looking to get themselves a much secure spot back in the elite of world para ice hockey, both of these sides. Matichka has been a prevalent part of the forward line for the Czech Republic so far at these Paralympic Games. Kubes now. It's not rushed this from the Czech Republic as Habel looks to go up a gear or two. And out wide that goes. Habel get it again, trying to be the orchestrator, but the tune wasn't the best. And Japan just smashed up the record. As it goes down the other end, and Kubes will look to recover things and get the Czechs going on a second phase. Japan so far not phased by the extra Czech on the ice. And that's a looping one towards Vapenka. And that's the first one that he's had to save, and then Takahashi and Gaia, the two mighty forces on either side, go head-to-head, quite literally. Very frenetic stuff here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre. Well, we're almost halfway through the first period. We're yet to have a score, and the Czech Republic have not done too much on this power play to give Japan reason to worry. Takahashi curving around and forcing Herbeck to retreat. Kubes. Uehara, awesome, leading the Japanese forecheck, but maybe there's going to be spaces left in behind now. There's only two back for Japan. One of them is Sudo, and he makes up for the deficit. Not once, but twice. Second time on Safranek, who did send Sudo tumbling. Herbeck now rolls. trying to put it behind the goal there. And Fukushima will slow that down, and that also concludes the power play as well, which has gone without incident. And line changes from both sides as they go wholesale. Nothing in the way of wholesale opportunities so far. Japan having a couple of sniffs, just the one shot on target, however. The Czechs yet to stretch. Shinobu Fukushima. Roll. Well, it wasn't much backlift there, was there? But on the edge of the circle, he has to ping one in low towards Fukushima. Comfortably dealt with, and then it scrambles around the crease. Jonathan Morrison quickly intervenes, which was the safest thing to do, and just to pull it back for a face-off. And straight from the previous face-off, it was a nice nudge back towards Raul, and on that right blade, he's trying to search for the far corner. Gaia, we know what he can do. Scoring twice against the Republic of Korea on day one in one of the highlight games of the Paralympics so far. Sudo using the puck as a bit of a pet there under his sledge, just to take it all as one. And the effort is deflected towards goal, and Habel it'll come for, and he's just dragged that wide across the face. And the puck wasn't sitting up nicely there at all, and he'll have hit the wrong corner of it. As the Czech Republic are looking more threatening now, 5-on-5, than they did when they had the player extra. Habel goes high, and well wide. Causes a few oohs from the crowd, but no reason for them to cheer as of yet. As neither side has found the onion bag. Kubes. Gaia meaning business, but too focused on what was to be in front of him rather than the puck coming towards him at the first chance. Habel negotiates that well. Gaia again just disorientated as he was going a bit too far forward, too fast, but now he's got the room to go into and burst away. Fukushima is out, but Gaia is denied, and Fukushima's lost his helmet, and that is goaltending at its finest. It may come at a consequence for Shinobu Fukushima, because there's not many people his age that can do that sort of thing and get away with it. He can. A shake of the head, a take back of the helmet, and he'll crack on nicely, thank you. First chance though that Mikhail Gaia has had to use that upper body to get the picks on the end of the sticks into the ground and to motor forward. It comes from a Japanese mistake. He may have just took it too far there, and he did the right thing trying to slip it onto the left blade, but Fukushima read him like a book and dispossessed him very nicely indeed. The helmet coming off unceremoniously, but that's the last of his concerns. This has been a fascinating start. It's difficult when it's goalless to do games justice sometimes, but this one is speaking for itself, and it's only a matter of time before we get a goal. And even when we get one, I don't think it's going to be the end of it. Japan winning the face-off this time, and this can relieve some pressure on their defensive zone. And Raul is unfortunate to miss out there, and Kumagai is having none of that as he dumps it towards the back. Herback did well to check across. Otherwise, it could have been Japan opening their account instead. These two well matched, as we suspected they might be before the game. Only a goal separated them in the qualification tournament in Östersund in Sweden in late 2017. That was from Mikhail Gaia on the stroke of the end of the second period. Here we get a goal towards the end of the first, though. It's a game that certainly deserves a goal on the record sheets. There's Hoary with the nice reverse pass, but as inventive as it wasn't successful, and Pala goes away from Kumagai, and almost too many cooks spoiling the Czech broth in the centre. They still have it with Propichka. He just forces it away, and he's wanting someone in white to get onto the end of it, as they make a couple of line changes now, the Czechs, who have been consistent so far in those shifts off the ice. Takahashi. Kubes is the one getting the last touch on it, as Novak shoves away Uiara off the puck, and that's the most blatant interference call that Jonathan Morrison will have had to make in his 4 Paralympic games as a referee. And there's protests of innocence there that, well, I don't think you could argue with that call. And it is Martin Novak, the 43-year-old, who is off. Second power play of the game, the first for Japan. The Czechs were unsuccessful in their double dose of minutes. Or doing all he can to just caress that back for Uiara. And I don't think he was expecting that back off Takahashi there. Takahashi again. As Japan begin to swarm around the Czech jerseys and flirt with the goal, and that is Paul from Sudo, who just inadvertently lets that slip under his blade and into the neutral zone, where the Czechs can gratefully batter it away. Sudo going to turn for that error and get Japan up the ice again. Both sides putting so much pressure on the opposition whenever they have the puck at the moment that neither team can take it for granted when they are actually going to be allowed the next opportunity to go deep inside the opposition zone. The Czechs evading very well indeed, and Geyer again's got a bit of room. Maybe again the roar of the crowd is getting to him a little bit as he lost the control of it in what was a promising position. Uiara goes away from Propichka, and it was a very tight battle between those two. They've got the same sort of body weight, but Uiara is the man shifting himself a bit quicker right now, and Hoary slipped through, and Vapenka wasn't tested too much there. It was straight at him, but he still had to be alert and ensure it was a firm enough hit away with interest. Takahashi keeping it close to his sledge as we come into the last 20 seconds of this Japanese power play, and the Czech Republic dealt with things well. Propichka forcing it all the way towards the Japanese goal line. Safranek hard into Hoary. Surprised his stick didn't snap there. Safranek, who from a starting position is trying to get enough speed to get towards the loose puck. Japan are back 5-on-5. And Japan not making the most of the power play, so that's both sides having one power play, and neither of them capitalising. Takahashi, still this fast and furious nature of the game, rumbles on. Uiara wants it, and he got there ahead of Kumagai as though he was on another team. Kumagai has it now, and he spins around 7:20. Well, this is a really intriguing affair. It's full-blooded, but goalless, and there's about a minute remaining. And the next phase of play will resume inside the Japanese zone. This is the opportunity for Japan, and it was Hoary who was put through there by Takahashi, and he got in between the two defencemen, but couldn't get it either side of Vapenka. Takahashi hogging the puck unknowingly, but he's got a teammate or two to help him out there and get things out of the face-off circle. Kubes the last line for the Czech Republic. Well, you wouldn't have expected that with the calmness he negotiated his way out of trouble there. And it's a long punt forward that will result in another face-off, as Fukushima has no option left but to sting out the pace of the puck. And we start things with another face-off. Fukushima, well, it's Groundhog Day, again having to just play it safe. .43 seconds remaining of the first period. Both sides with 2 shots on goal. No goals converted. And Gaia has had the best chance of the game, certainly for the Czech Republic. Fukushima thwarted him quite heroically. On this occasion, Gaia, will he get what he wants? It's dragged wide from him. There was a lot of pressure in front of him from those in black. The men in black have more defending to do. Gaia, back it goes. Dolajal with Habel on the overlap. Good movement this from the Czech Republic. Fluent and not clinical. Kubes over again. Gaia now clatters into a bit of a Japanese sandwich, and that concludes the first half, the first period, should I say, quite fittingly. Carnage behind the Japanese goal. The crowd have loved what's been going on, and there's been a lot of committed play from both sides, who know there isn't much to play for in this particular group game, but they are wanting points on the board, and they are giving everything they can in order to do it. Goalless after the first 15 minutes, but not without incident. It's the Czech Republic 0, Japan 0.
안내 말씀드리겠습니다. 방치된 물건은 보안상 위험 요소로 간주되어 수거될 수 있으니 개인 소지품 관리에 주의해 주시길 바랍니다.
Fans, in consideration of other patrons, please remain seated and do not walk up and down the stairs during the game until there is a stoppage in play.
관중 여러분께서는 경기에 방해가 되지 않도록 경기 도중에 일어서거나 나가지 마시고 좌석에 착석해 주시길 바랍니다.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Pavel Kubes. I will be your in-arena host for today. 안녕하세요, 여러분. 오늘 진행 맡은 김한나입니다. 반갑습니다. Thank you, guys. Right now, we're going to start on his camp, so make sure you grab a loved one next to you. Now, remember, if you're sitting next to a family member or a friend, just give them a hug. 여러분, 지금부터 키스 캠을 진행할 건데요. 친구나 가족들과 함께하는 키스 한번 해주시면 됩니다. 네, 지금부터 키스 시작!
We are here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre for the final game in Group B of the Para Ice Hockey competition. Goalless so far, but not without incident. 2 shots apiece from either side, a 2-minute spell in the penalty box for both as well. Neither side making the most of the power play, however, as the Czech Republic and Japan do battle. Both sides knowing full well they mathematically cannot get into the top 4 of these Paralympic Games, but they're wanting to ensure they'll at least finish in the top 5. Smiles for those in red, and also smiles for the Japanese faithful as well, for which there is quite a lot of them. There are Japanese flags scattered around this 10,000-seater facility, which has seen some fantastic moments during the group stages of this para ice hockey competition at PyeongChang 2018. And so far, this game could be up there as well. The goals yet to come, but the action has been fast, furious, and troublesome at times for either goaltender. Takahashi with the first opportunity of the game, not forcing Vapenka into a save on that occasion, and Uiara, the master of his own downfall, just sort of intercepting his own effort towards goal, which the Czechs could easily mop up. But it has been a very 50-50 contest, with both sides enjoying the same amount of territorial and possession of the puck as well. That effort from Raul seemingly coming out of nothing, but Fukushima was ready for it, and it wasn't the last of the action that Fukushima was involved with as well in the first period, as Habel skewed that one wide. This the best opening. Gaia well charged down by Fukushima, who got a bite of his teammate as well in the process, losing his helmet, but comfortably battling on to continue for the rest of the first period. And he's looking for his first shutout of these Paralympic Games. He certainly deserves one, as he's been doing a lot of hard work in the Japanese goal in the first couple of days of action in Group B. Vapenka not having to go to the lengths of Fukushima, but still being called upon and doing the business nevertheless. Gaia has been quiet, but every now and then he gets the puck and looks determined to make them sprints forward. We'll have to wait and find out if he's got anything in his locker to change things here, because at the moment it's even Stevens, goalless, but the deadlock on the verge of being broken, you feel. The game going at such a pace and at a rate of knots where it would be wrong if this game ended goalless. So Japan are back onto the ice now, and I wonder what coach Koji Nakakita would have said, because you would feel like saying more of the same. You're not doing anything wrong right now. The Czechs are just even with you. And of course these two sides are on more or less a level playing field. They were both part of the B Pool World Championships in 2016, where they both met in the final there, and they both had to qualify as well in Östersund in October 2017 for the Paralympic Games. And they met on the final day of competition, the Czechs running out 1-0 winners. Gaia having to break the deadlock in that one at the back end of the second period, and I wonder if this game will be a carbon copy of that. Certainly so far it has been balanced and nip and tuck, but there is going to be a winner, whether it be in regulation or in overtime should we need it. We've only had the two games so far go all the way to overtime. The Czechs been involved in the second of them against the Republic of Korea on day 2. On day 4, well, they have to do the extra 5 minutes again. They'll certainly hope not. They won't have good memories of that Republic of Korea game. And likewise with Japan as well. They were defeated by the host nation, which really has put both of these sides in this position where all they've got to play for now is avoiding the bottom couple of spots in the final standings of these PyeongChang 2018 Paralympic Winter Games. Jonathan Morrison just perusing around the face-off circle in the centre before he checks if both goaltenders are ready for the next 15 minutes of this rumble in the Gangneung Hockey Centre jungle to begin. Takahashi once again. I don't know if it's deliberate or not with him, because it's happened on quite a few occasions now in the face-off. He just allows the puck to go under his sledge. He keeps it there for a moment while everyone's panicking around him, and then he'll release it. But it's not worked because Kubes is through straight away, and Fukushima has saved it, and a stick went flying in the process of that as well. Kubes certainly had no mercy, and as he went through, it was a save from Fukushima. Just collects it with the left hand, like he's a wicket keeper. Kubes scored 5 and assisted 1 in Östersund in the qualification tournament for this. Now Uiara at the other end, galloping into room, and Hori, they're onside. Surely they're going to score. And it was poorly judged that by Hori, I think. He wanted to be selfless and feed Kumagai, but the food just wasn't on the right table. Herbeck is getting in all sorts of bother. It's his persistence that may do things here, because he's almost doing a headstand. Safranek helps him out, and now it's Uiara and Pallet doing battle. Uiara not being as composed in this game as he usually is, but still putting himself about and getting in the right areas for Japan. As the first minute of the second period certainly going with the same sort of flow and rhythm as what the first 15 minutes of the game did as well. And we hope for more of the same from a neutral point of view, because it's been compelling viewing. Is lacking a goal, but I'm still confident that it's going to come. Uiara to Takahashi. That slips under the left blade. And Herbeck will have the simple task here of just sweeping around his own goal. In fact, he's going to drag Takahashi with him and leave the puck for Kubes. And now, with possession of the puck, is Wagner. Almost got it back there, Wagner, who has limited use of the right side of his body. He has cerebral palsy, that is the impairment on that side, and unlike most para-hockey athletes, the upper body is affected by impairment as well as the lower. But he's certainly handy with that left stick. Unfortunately for Japan, Hori with the right stick wasn't able to provide Kumagai the goods to Berry. an end-to-end affair. And we're still awaiting how much of an influence a first goal will have on this fixture, because the complexion right now couldn't be fairer. Icing the call against Japan. And so Japan forced right back to keep Fukushima company. And this time coming off in the face-off circle with the upper hand of Nakamura. Scrappy stuff, as has been the case through the duration. We're going to get yet another icing call here. Well, Japan have been dogged when it's come to the face-off, and they're going to have to be once again. This time it's on the near side face-off circle. Raul just managed to keep that the right side of the blue line as far as the Czech Republic are concerned, and it could work out well. There's Krpička, hits the wrong side of the net. Safranek, I don't think Habel was looking. But it was Herbeck, and he has just slammed it into the corner. And for now, the opportunity may have just fizzled for the Czech Republic. Krpička. Well, he bumped into Uiara, not the first time those two have met horns. And panic stations ever so slightly for Japan, who can now begin to progress away with the puck. Safranek not allowing that to be the case. Raul nipping in and then collides into Kadama. Sudo sweeping around, and he's wanting an option here. All the options are on that far side where the trio of black jerseys begin to spray forward on the ice. Eventually giving chase to it is Yoshikawa. And he's just had to pick up his stick there at the same time as the puck, and slamming around the back for Hori, but possession eventually lost by Japan, but the Czechs just handing them back the favour, and then vice versa. And another illustration that fairly represents the game we've had so far, as Raul looks to make the breakthrough here in between the two black jerseys who retreat well, and they deny him fairly the chance to even get a shot away. But now it's neat and tidy and saved by Fukushima, and that was Wagner on the left side. We said that that was his stronger side, and then he makes it count. But on that occasion, despite the effort being on target, it's a forced save of the game by Drapenka. Now Kubes, will it be a fifth? As it's low and wide, no need for Fukushima to get involved with that transition. Well, this, again, is just a remarkable game of para ice hockey, where both goals have lived pretty charmed lives, because neither puck has gone in the goal. Hori more bothered about Wagner, I think, than the puck there. It's counterintuitive for the Japanese. Again, the Czechs making good use of the line changes. They've been consistent with it so far and trying to get each member of the roster as equal time as possible out on the ice. Novak, he spent 2 minutes in the penalty box in the first period. Wagner, almost a textbook switch towards the far side. Kubes trying to make something still out of it. His attempts to recycle that were just thwarted. And then Hori at the other end. Is he going to stop that for icing? He's not. And back that will go into the Japanese zone. Well, I hope both sets of players are taking rests when they make the line changes, because this is a frenetic nature. Wagner taking that really well, but it's not an ideal angle. And when you're against someone like Fukushima, it's going to take a bit more than that to beat him. Uehara, Gaia is sniffing blood. Kubes now. And that's charged down. And Takahashi gets into a bit of a line dance with him. Habel, they're all going for it. Matichka will finally get on the end of it. I thought he was going to let fly there. He allows Gaia to orchestrate something different. Domashal. Goodness me. That was one of the heaviest collisions that I've seen so far in these Paralympic Games. Both ends of sledges getting wedged into one another. And Kumagai wanted a piece of that, and a broken stick there as well that the linesman is just clearing away now. Well, that was a great collision, a tasty one, and showing again just how committed to the cause both of these sides are. I think Kumagai may be fortunate there because he's come into the side of Dolezal, and the rule in para ice hockey with the teeing that you're not allowed to use the end of these sledges to go into the side of an opponent. I think he just got there in time, as Hori also wanted to replicate Kumagai's offensive nature. Nearly halfway through the game, Czech Republic 0, Japan 0. The Czechs have slightly had the more of things in this second period so far. They have had 2 shots on goal to Japan's none. Back underway again. And this is now Raul, who clocked up just over 8 minutes in the first period, which is more or less the team average, the highest being 13 minutes for Kubes. And 11 minutes up there as well for Herbach. Japan a bit more reliant on their stars. Uehara has got over 15 minutes already. Misawa on 14, and also Hori shortly behind on a fraction under 14 minutes. And Japan really have been working them aging bodies that they've got in defence. And it's drifted away from Annika, who I don't even know whether or not he knew he'd got connection to that. He was looking the wrong way. It would have been audacious, or maybe fortunate's the right word, but it goes wide. Palat doing well on defensive duty. Both sides have done really well with the interceptions, and defensively been on their A game so far, not allowing either offensive outfit to really show what they're about. Herbach is going to lose out on this one. The direction of the puck was not with him. Annika slides it round the back of the net, and that's going to go all the way into the neutral zone once again, so the Czechs can begin to squeeze some juice out of the Japanese. Uehara is making his own delicacy right now, however. Scrubs off Kubes. But Annika with him, who's tapping the stick and letting him know, but I don't think Uehara's got the opportunity right now to get the puck away from him, because Herbach is there. Wagner is trying to ensure that the 3 involved in this don't forget about him as well. But that's commanding stuff, ultimately, from Annika. And still the mad scramble continues. Uehara, nice interchange from the right onto the left, and Klima says, forget about the flare, I want a bit of a heavy challenge instead. Got it through Uehara, just too far in front of him. He's a small frame, is Uehara, and if his sticks are an inch longer there or so, he may have received that to a club. Hori now. Japan beginning to put on the pressure, and it's Herbach with the last-ditch effort to keep things away, and then Vapenka gets took on a ride as he kills the puck. Hori having him on a lead there, but it didn't matter because the object they were both after was already stumped. And so an opportunity for both sets of players to have a bit of a rest. The Czech Republic 0, Japan 0. Japan yet to register an effort on target, but Annika hitting it wide. See Herbeck there just seeing off Yoshikawa and allowing Vapenka to take control. And the Czechs like the rock and roll. It's ever so prominent in their changing rooms, especially after a win. And some decided whether or not we'll be hearing that after this game at the moment. But it's certainly a rock and roll sort of hockey game, this. It is fast, it is very powerful, but are we going to get a fine note to end things with? Gaia just reacts at the right time to turn around there. The Czechs have been in their own half for a couple of minutes now. Japan are just trying to get some minutes in their sails where they are the dominant party. But loose players like that aren't going to help. Thankfully, it's rescued just in the nick of time by Misawa. But the Czechs seem to be a gear lower now than Japan, and that's a sudden change. As Habel battles away for it, there's going to be a penalty as Gaia misses. And the delay penalty still standing from Jonathan Morrison. As Gaia is toying with the puck and allowing Takahashi to get dragged along with him, as there will be a Japanese penalty in the not too distant future, but we're going to find out if the Czechs can score first. They're not going to be able to. Jonathan Morrison can now relax that right arm of his as hooking is the call. You can see with the demonstration there from Jonathan Morrison, and Uiara is the one who, with acceptance, makes the long journey to the penalty box. This is the incident. Habel in there, and you can see Uiara is just doing all he can to prevent Habel's progress. And had Habel been allowed to roll through, then he could have provided the perfect ammunition for Gaia to strike. So Uiara doing what you've got to do in those sort of desperate scenarios. As Japan on the shorthand come forward, and it's still alive with number 25, Misawa. 3 white jerseys around him. As the Czechs trying to make their advantage count. They didn't on the first power play that they had in period 1, and they hasten for the same to occur. This could be an opening though, as Papichka is beaten to it by Sudo with relative ease. And even if Sudo was panicking there, you would never know. His body language is always relaxed, and he's got great composure whenever the puck is at his sticks. Papichka, not an ideal position to get the puck there, and this is going to come for Annika, who's blasted it wide. And again, Japan failing to force Vapenka into a save in this period, despite the fact they've really backed the arrow towards the goal on numerous occasions. Habel, clean connection on Misawa, and Gaia was never going to bring it under his spell, so just reverse plays it in towards the crease of Fukushima, and we will have a face-off because of that, so it could work out for the Czechs, who on their last phase of play on the power play try and make it count, but it almost flipped the other way and stabbed them in the back as Annika hit that, and well, the fortunate there that didn't come off her back, because that could have diverted its way past Vapenka. Because this game has been so close and tight, even when power plays have come about for either side, it's been difficult to maximise, because both sides are strong in the mindset when they're defending to block out the spaces and clog up the middle. And whether it's for 4 or 5, it's been working for both outfits. The Czech Republic and Japan, so far tenacious and masterful defensively, but Kubes trying to break down the door, and he has. And there it is. Finally, the crowd gets a roar. And finally, Pavel Kubes can put that Czech power play to good use. Finally, there was a gap. And finally, Fukushima is beaten. The Czechs, with 2.5 minutes remaining of the second period, have their noses in front. And it's the Czech Republic 1, Japan 0, and that is ruthless. Kumagai with the desperate lunge, but Kubes just arrowed it in. And the puck was just too quick as it rolled up and around the net. And it's advantage to the Czechs. Czech Republic trying to make a bit of a change there, but Jonathan Morris saying no, do your last bit of work first. Before ordering Gar away from the face-off circle. Assisted by Zdenek Habel. He is credited with that accolade for Kubes' goal. And he was right in the nick of time as well. I timed that deliberately when I was saying this game was close and that neither offensive team could break the other down. Just encouraging the goal to occur. And for the Czechs it did. But Japan have got to respond because the Czechs are enjoying themselves and are in search of another. Pallet now, pirouettes as forced Japan back at full strength but still on the ropes. As Kubes gets his 3rd point of the tournament, 2 assists next to his name as well going into this one. Both of course coming in that remarkable contest against the Republic of Korea, and we are going to get another penalty now. And it's going to be for interference. This is the replay of it, and it's Herbeck who has conceded it, and I think he's pretty angry with that one because it was coming in towards him almost like a teeing against Japan, but instead it's an interference against the Czechs. But credit to Jonathan Morrison, the way he's refereed this one, it's been a case of blood and guts out on the ice, but it's been fairly contested enough that Jonathan Morrison can allow most things to go. But there is a point where you've got to intervene and say enough is enough. The Czechs on the penalty kill are trying to catch Japan cold. Habel put in a lot of work there to try and make something of that puck, and Dolajar's just hit it against Takahashi. When if he'd spread it to the far side in Gaia, there may have been a window of opportunity. Gaia eventually gets it, but in the more defensive area of the ice. That was committed play, that from Kubes, but perhaps a bit reckless. He won't be made to pay for it for now, but Dolajar with work to do, and he's clattered into by Hori. And then Kumagai proves that Japan are in this contest and they are in search of the equaliser. Hori, lovely little reverse flick for Takahashi with a deft touch that caught out the Czechs, but in the end Vapenka is not caught out by the ricocheting puck. And this is going to be an interesting last 45 seconds. Japan will start the 3rd period with the man advantage for around 15 seconds. It's the goal once again from the reverse side. Kubes beating Fukushima in between the sledge and the arm. And Takahashi doing what he does best and just getting his arm locked with an opposition, and it's getting a bit furious in there, isn't it, with Uiara battering away Safranek. And that was Japan there, scurrying around because whatever the Czechs are doing that, they're killing time on the penalty. And that was wise play, and that could fizzle out Japan's last opportunity. This will be the last entrance into the Czech zone, and Kumaga's going to make something of this. He's forced into shoot, otherwise they'll get nothing else, and then a shot from a tight angle on the rebound. Almost got out for Penka, and that will be the last action of the second period. Eventually we get a goal, and it has come for the Czech Republic, courtesy of Pavel Kubes, just a couple of minutes before the end of the period, in what again has been tight and competitively fought, fairly as well. Every now and then things have slightly bubbled over, but all in the name of this wonderful game. Para ice hockey once again not disappointing here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre, and the Czechs aren't either for now. They lead Japan by a 1-0. This is the Gangneung Hockey Centre, and this is the Para Ice Hockey competition at PyeongChang 2018, the Paralympic Winter Games. And we have had a real corker of an affair between the Czech Republic and Japan. You can see how even the first period was, and the shot count in the second, not really a fair reflection, because the Czech Republic may have got off the score sheet with their 1 goal out of their 3 efforts on target, but Japan certainly had enough goalmouth action to put their stamp on the game as well. However, they failed to actually get a shot on target in Makal Verpenka's net. So that will certainly be the discussion between Kojin Nakakita and his Japanese side at the break. As for the Czech Republic, it's more of the same for them. They seem to have a real intensity whenever they break into the Japanese end zone. But the Czech Republic goal on a power play does go to show as well that 5 on 5, these two seem to have each other completely matched up. That's Fukushima, one of the 2 saves that he made in that period. Kubes, ultimately the scorer of the goal, had a chance to test out his rifle first. At the other end, Hori probably should have gone alone, and he was trying to be selfless there. You can see Kumagai just entering the screen now, and just a second or so after the puck was there. Wagner also tested Fukushima, but one of the more food and drink saves that he's had to make at these Paralympic Games so far. But that's one of the rare occasions where there's actually been clean ice around either offensive player in the end zone. Wagner will probably feel he should have done more with that, although it was a difficult situation. That's the closest Japan have gone. Annika dragging one wide, and it was difficult for him as well, as he tried to tuck it underneath the sledge of Safranek, who really was giving him some bother there. And Annika was just as focused as to what Safranek was doing, as to what the puck was also doing. It came towards him. That was the incident that led to the Czech Republic power play. There was hooking involved. You can see the number 32 at UER just losing control of the puck and going in on Habel with a bit too much force. On the penalty kill, Japan almost scored, as the Czechs were at 6s and 7s, but then Kubes at the other end just stuck in the knife and put it into the corner of the net, past Fukushima, who seemed to just go whoa as it blew in between his right glove and the sledge. So Kubes' goal, the only one of this affair, and he took a firm hit as well, as that was slammed home by Kumagai. As this game certainly represents all that's great about power ice hockey. There's an awful lot of speed going off on the ice right now. There's a lot of physicality, and there's a lot of commitment to the cause as well, because these two sides are going to finish in the bottom 4 positions, but it's all about who can finish in the top 5 after the group stages have been rounded up today on day 4 of competition. The Czechs have finished 5th in the last 2 Paralympic Games of Vancouver 2010 and Sochi 2014. Japan were not at the Paralympics in 2014. In 2010, though, they did silver, and they are probably the biggest yo-yo side in world para ice hockey right now, but the Czechs aren't far behind them. The Czech Republic will be hoping they'll be back into the A pool of the World Championships, along with Japan in 2019. As both of them in 2016 were in the B pool. They met in the final. It was a heavy win for the Czechs on that day, but this has been so much closer. More reminiscent of the last Paralympic meeting between these two sides in 2010 in Vancouver. It was Japan who came out on top by 2-1 that day, and they won it in the final period. If they're to do that here, they'll have to bag twice, which will be a tough ask. But this game, I feel, has got 1 or 2 more moments of brilliance involved in it, as there's been too much incident for this game to go with just the 1 goal. So both starting skaters are back on the ice. The Czechs are man down for the next 18 seconds due to that penalty that is hanging over from the first period. And in the box right now is Miroslav Herbeck, who He's a 53-year-old that made his debut at the European Championships in 2005. So it's a 5-on-4 in Japan's favour, but they've only got 15 seconds to make something of it. As the clock ticks down rapidly, Uliara is going to have to be even more rapid here if he's to get on the end of that puck before Vapenka lays claim. He doesn't, but the last 6 seconds of the power play will be spent with Japan having that territorial upper hand. So a few harum-scarum moments for Vapenka in the second period, but nothing where he actually had to make a save. In what was a quiet period for shots, Sudo batters into Gaia, and now the Czechs are back at full strength, and they've weathered that brief storm, which really didn't amount to much. Japan still trying to use the momentum as though they are still on the power play. Yoshikawa, that's a fortunate bounce off the board to him. Now can he get the pass right? There's so much space down the centre which Sudo can let fly in. It deflects and Vapenka can gratefully grasp in his left glove. The stick went flying, the puck went looping, and Vapenka stayed calm in all the madness. Vapenka is also a former volleyball Paralympian in Atlanta '96, but he can catch as well as volley, gratefully for the Czech Republic. Both sets of players not afraid to mix it with one another, even if they're outnumbered, and Safranek there was down 2-1, but still was the meat in the sandwich. Again, hard to keep track of the puck when it's down on the near side. I think it's the Czechs holding this, and they are as well. That camera angle giving us a far better shot, and they're all nudging it forwards, and now they can try and spring into the centre where there's a little bit more room, but certainly not much. Safranek steering round, and Pori will track him every movement. Safranek again, and it's difficult on the transition for both sides, because when Safranek got the puck there, the two Czechs up with him were turning back towards the other direction, and they've got to quickly adjust, and it's difficult to be that agile when you're in the sledge, because you've got to flip the stick around and find the right angle with both sticks to work your way back, which is much easier said than it is done. And so Japan on that occasion were easily able to progress into the other third of the ice. This is Safranek. I think he'll be feeling that in the morning. Head to head there with Misawa. Kubes, the goal scorer. Now Habel. Matichka is up there, and Habel wants to feed someone. He goes for Kubes instead. This for a second of the game, and Fukushima just as casual with the puck coming towards him as Vapenka was a few moments before. This is Fukushima's 4th Paralympic Games, his 10th major tournament. He back at home is goaltender for Nagano Thunderbirds, back in the town that hosted the '98 Paralympic Winter Games. Gaia, oh, he slips that wide, and if the accuracy was there, Fukushima would have been beaten, because that was too low and quick to get down in that time and make a save. Kumagai up against Gaia, and Gaia just hasn't been quite at the races today. The Japanese defensemen have stifled him, but having said that, if he's presented with an opportunity, he more often than not takes it. Vapenka almost taken a chance there that he gets away with. Now Gaia again, and that's a nice switch from him. Not only from the right blade onto the left, but also cross rink as well. Kubes has beaten Sudo to the first phase. Kumagai not given the opportunity at all by Kubes to negotiate a way out of trouble. Now it's a chance. Safranek low, and that is audacious, but it's beautiful and accurate, and it's hit the net. And Fukushima had no clue what was coming to him there, because there was a swarm of black jerseys buzzing around in front of him, and just slipped through the letterbox was that shot that doubles the Czechs' lead. And Safranek has stunned everyone here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre. It's the Czech Republic 2, Japan 0. He's almost lofted that on the initial contact there, Safranek. It's a really unorthodox way of firing the puck in, but it's done the job to a T. And Japan have to really work some magic in the last 11 minutes. And just like that, the game may be out of Japan's reach. The Czechs possibly could play with a bit more freedom now, and if Japan leaves some spaces, they can pick them off for more. Safranek has scored before against Japan in the B-Pool World Championships. That was in the round robin. And the Czechs won 2-0 on that day as well. So this reminiscent, but on a much bigger stage of a Paralympic Winter Games. Misawa. Japan need to plot away back into this one, and pretty quickly. Safranek is in a melee on the far side that also concerns Misawa, and trying to just get his piece of the argument in there is Herbeck. And this is just a strange piece of play that eventually Kapricka can wriggle his way out of. Kadama now is in there, and I think everyone's had a part to play in that scuffle, that eventually sees the puck break loose, and away it goes. But the longer the puck is in that sort of scenario for the Czechs, the better it is. Herbeck, not once but twice, trying to twist away from the attention of Annika. Now Raul completely misses that, but fortuitously for him, Pallet is on the ice to make amends. Annika almost got onto the loose play. Sudo's going to be in the neutral zone, and we'll have to wait for those in black to filter back. In fact, he's not even going to get a chance to make a pass, because Safranek is quickly on it. And then Annika just collides with his teammate Hori, and Krapicka was floating that like an angel in the night sky, but he was defeated at the last by Sudo. And then another effort on target from Kubes, and Fukushima refusing to be beaten low down this time. Well, in no way discrediting Shinobu Fukushima here, but both efforts that have hit his net have been in the bottom right corner that he would have felt, if he'd seen the shot from a third-person angle, he would have thought he could have saved. But just look at the pace of that on the full speed. Fukushima, he's just reversing into position, and maybe he hasn't got his bearings. He's not arguing. Yuri Brisa, he'll have some of that. And the Czechs can enjoy this. At the moment, they're on course for their first 3-point haul, in addition to the 1 point they got against the Republic of Korea on day 2. And the regrets may filter through after that if they just managed in overtime to drag out the contest a little bit longer. They could have maybe got 2 points from that game, but we'll never know. As after the whistle had blown, it was fired by Habel, who puts up the apologetic hand. Fukushima saved that anyway. Jonathan Morrison coming to the near side to talk to the official timekeeper. Not quite sure what that was about. And puck is alive and well once again, ready to be battered around the rink by these two sets of athletes who have given a lot to the cause in this game. But it will be the Czechs that are fruitful from it if the scoreline stays this way. It could get better, and Gaia hasn't had a chance to implement the sort of flair and ability that we are accustomed to seeing from him, and that he does on such a regular basis. He once scored 5 against Japan, and that was in the World Championship B pool final. That was a 6-0 win for the Czech Republic that day. But Gaia rarely on the score sheet. Or rarely not on the score sheet, shall I say. There's Kubes, who's already got a goal to his name, has just stung the palms of Fukushima, who, using a combination of gloves and also the stick as well, can just usher that away. But it is good for the Czech Republic that they can win a game without having to depend on Gaia's goals. It was him at the brace against the Republic of Korea that got that game to overtime. And they've got 2 different goal scorers on day 4. And reason for optimism in the classification rounds. Pseudo. Well, that was a fierce blow by Gaia. He took a bit there to roll back around and get back upright on his sledge, because he would have felt the full force of it. He was the orchestrator of the impact, and he came out worse off. Krapichka, great agility from him. Of course, with a smaller frame in the sledge, it is easier to motor around, but then again, you need the upper body strength to still move at that pace, and I think that's one of the underestimated parts about para ice hockey, is there's a lot of skill involved, and of course you've got to be able to pick out the passes and be able to find the right spaces to go into, but you've still got to get around at a efficient enough pace to trouble the opposition, and to do that you are relying solely on your arms and your chest. So these athletes have got a bit of everything. Everything that they are able to use, they use to their maximum ability. And that's what's so fascinating about this sport. And I think people are a bit taken aback as well by the fact that these para-athletes are really throwing themselves into a sport which keeps the main features of regular ice hockey, where you've still got that pace, you've still got the strength, and you've still got that determination to win. And Kubes with determination to get another goal, and is denied by Fukushima. And I'm beginning to sound like a bit of a broken record, but that man is hard to beat, which is why it's frustrating for Japan that the 2 goals he has conceded seemed far more routine than some of the more spectacular saves he's made. Kubes knows that all too well, as the shot count for the 3rd period stands at 5-2 in the Czech Republic's favour, and the Czechs now in double figures. If Japan in the 2nd period had just got some of those efforts that were off target on target, and then this game may offer a different complexion. But as it stands, Fukushima stretching the left arm behind him to deny that from going in. And deny a Czechs a 3rd. It's Czech Republic 2, Japan 0. Well, I'm just wondering if Japan are going to mix things up a bit, because they have stuck with the same line, same 2 lines, should I say, throughout not just the game but the competition as well. And the likes of Hori, 22 minutes, Misawa, 22 minutes, Shuiara, 22 and a half minutes. They must be feeling the strain of the tournament as a whole. Habel getting into a merry dance with Misawa. Dolajal takes a thump in the face from Kadama. As Uiara just shifts it down that side, and they have made a couple of different changes now, Japan. But Gaia, he was almost joining the party, and that took a deflection, which took the sting out of the puck and made it slither wide of the goal line. But when Gaia's in that sort of area, you know he means trouble. Gaia is determined to get in on the act here, and he's got just under 5 minutes to do so. Habel, the Czechs looking the most likely, as Japan just haven't really got started in the third period, and they've let it get away from them. But credit to the Czechs for how they've managed this, because a winning position is something that they haven't enjoyed in the Paralympic Games so far before this game. The Czech Republic's third Paralympics, and the two previous ones seeing them finish fifth. And Gaia will certainly be the man to help them through the classification rounds to get back to fifth position, and he will be hoping to find the net a couple more times before PyeongChang 2018 is out. Safranek is strong, and Pallet is helpful, and he's just the one at the moment taking things temporarily off a teammate to allow them to shrug off a challenge before they're in a position ready to get it back again. But it's not been worked out at the defensive zone, and Takahashi could almost make things interesting, but he is dispossessed. Puck out for icing at the other end as another minute goes by, and Sudo with a tap of the stick on the ice there as a note of encouragement. Uiara will want to turn away from his own goal as soon as he can. Herbeck, head down, charge forward. There was an offside in there, as I think Safranek was slow to get back in the neutral zone. Line change has been made by the Czechs. Japan sticking as to how they are. 3.5 minutes to go, and Czech Republic leading by 2-0. Gaia being trapped by Hori, and he's just gone in between the black chicane of the two Japanese jerseys, and now Habel is just stuck under his left stick. Has actually left him now, and Japan aren't going to return that to him anytime soon, and they're slow on the retreat here, the Czechs, because Kumagai is through, and Vapenka, the last line when he's been called upon, this for the 5th time now, has made the save. There's been a collision, you can see on the edge of the face-off circle between Kumagai and Gaia. And Gaia must be exhausted because he's covered every speck of ice, and it's his late smash into Kumagai that may have just been the off-putting factor. Vapenka with his shutout intact. Kubes didn't get a bite of that. Much more purchase on it on that occasion from the Czechs. Well, Matichka and Uiara playing a bit of parakate with the sticks there. Eventually it's come loose. And now an opportunity for Horry on an angle. Again, he's pulled it across. And that's the second time in this hockey game where he's tried to be selfless and be the assist maker. But in fact, he's just been the stumbling block. The intention's there, but no one in black with Horry. As the Czechs make an ambitious line change, which is going to work out because Takahashi has got it before the white swarm descends upon him. Offside against Horry, and the Czechs with time to get this back. With 2 minutes remaining of the final period, and well, playing with fire there was Herbeck, just on the edge of Papenka's crease, and he's had to get his goaltender to rescue him out of that. And if Papenka feeling the negative effects of that collision, it was Herbeck taking the chances, and he was just taking a Sunday stroll there, Herbeck, without realising he was going to quickly get swallowed up by the gulf of black shirts. There is a timeout, and the Czech Republic still have their shutout intact. They lead by 2-0. Japan calling the timeout. Just a way of planning a route to goal. If they get one now, we know that it takes a moment to get another goal and then switch the seesaw from what is so far going in a downwards direction for Japan back upwards again. Well, as you can see, the tactic from Japan, let's go 6 on 5. Uiara. That loose play is going to be awkward because there's going to be 6 Japan players filtering back into the neutral zone. Again, Gaia is really hungry for a goal, and he's trying to get the interception and the turnover as soon as he can. Japan still with an open goal, which the Czechs will be aware of, but they have to make sure that the enthusiasm to win the puck back and quickly pounce doesn't override into foul play. Horry. Jonathan Morrison just hurdling, the two coming towards him. And now Gaia, if you're going to score, this is your chance. He's shrouded out by the black jersey, and Uiara turns around at the nick of time, because even though that puck wasn't really travelling at a pace of a rocket, Uiara wasn't paying attention immediately. Kumagai, lots of space on the near side, well into the final minute. Japan going to respond and make it a testing final few seconds for the Czechs, who have defended very strongly indeed, just like Japan have, but 2 moments in the Czechs' favour is what's going to separate these two sides in what was a repeat of the B Pool World Championship final of 2006. And the Czechs are going to win it again. And Kubes has just delivered a lovely dose of icing onto a sweet, sweet cake for the Czech Republic. And it's his second of the game. And the Czechs knew the goal was at their mercy, with Japan going all out with the 6 skaters. And finally, they have managed to put this to bed. Kubes, well, that's emphatic, isn't it? Didn't go safe, didn't slide it across the ice. He thought, I'm going up and under. And getting a third for the Czechs. It's Czech Republic 3, Japan 0. And they have ended their Group B campaign on a high. Good way of ending the game, that, for the Czech Republic. And back comes Fukushima. It means little now, but Japan, they went for it, and that's the price you pay when you just can't quite get it right at the other end. As the final buzzer goes, and it's applause from those of a Czech persuasion. The Japanese a bit more focused on what's around the corner here at PyeongChang 2018. The Paralympic Winter Games comes to its conclusion in the para ice hockey in terms of the group stage, and now it's all about who is going to finish where in what has been a tremendously competitive pool of 8 in total. And it is Group B coming to a close with the Czechs having the upper hand over Japan, who couldn't notch a point over the course of the 3 games, but they certainly gave it their all. Defeat on the opening day to the Republic of Korea didn't really put them in the right direction. The USA was always going to be an impossible challenge, and today against the Czechs in a pretty close game, they didn't quite have the cutting edge in front of Mikhail Papenka that Kubes and co had for the Czech Republic. It means that the final score here, as both sets of players respect each other's efforts in a game where I don't think the scoreline gives it a fair reflection ultimately, but the Czechs taking their chances certainly is the right summary to take away from this one. Czech Republic 3, Japan 0. The 11 shots to 4 for the Czechs standing out. The face-offs was close, 21-18. All around the ice there were individual battles going on, which certainly captured the imagination and predominantly the passion as well of this crowd, who have come out in number once again here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre. And those who have made the long trip from Prague will be the ones feeling most pleased with that 45-minute spell. Yuri Briza will as well, the 42-year-old who has been at the Czech helm for quite a while in comparison to some of the other para ice hockey coaches we have at these Paralympic Games. He's been in the bench since the 2013 World Championships, and he's certainly suffered the highs and the lows with the Czechs over the recent years. But they seem to be a side back on the rise again as they celebrate in front of their travelling contingent in the corner. The stats predominantly in their favour. After a close first half an hour, Kubes managed to find the breakthrough. The second goal from Safranek stunned everybody, and Kubes at the end really rounding things off nicely with a lovely looped effort into a vacant net. Japan still pleasing those with their flag left in the crowd, who still appreciate what they are doing. And this Japanese contingent here that you're seeing now, there's a lot of ages mixed in there, and they have been there through the highs of the silver medal in Vancouver 2010, the lows of missing out at Vancouver in Sochi 2014, should I say. But they are sticking with them. And how many more Paralympic Games have they got left in the locker? They've certainly still got a few more games left here at PyeongChang 2018, and we hope that they can come away making the short trip back to Tokyo feeling fulfilled. Their experience certainly has been a fulfilling one, and I'm sure a lot of the locals will testify the same sort of review from their time here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre, where full-time in Group B, it's the Czech Republic 3, Japan 0. We are halfway through competition here at PyeongChang 2018, the Paralympic Winter Games, and the temperature is being brought up an extra few notches now as the group stages are out of the way. The flags are being packed and readied for the second half of this gripping para-ice hockey competition. Who are going to take the medals? Who are going to take the 5th to 8th spots? That'll certainly be the question that the Czechs and the Japanese will be asking after this, as their attention turns away from Group B, which may be disappointing for them. But for those in red, white and blue, at least they can look back and smile at the success here today on day 4. It's finished. Czech Republic 3, Japan 0.
We ask that you please assist us by taking your waste with you as you leave the seating areas. Thank you.
상대 가운데 파울이 관중 여러분의 안전을 위해 운영 인력의 통제에 따라 퇴장해 주시기 바랍니다. 관중 여러분의